Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Ryan Holmes, and we are podcasting off the non-scoring shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, and Ryan Holmes is RHOLM22. Thank you for listening to the show in Hillsboro, Oregon, San Jose, California, Apex, North Carolina, Oakland, California, Victor, Idaho, British Columbia. Let's see here. We got Fresno, California, Monterey Valley, California, and Washington, D.C. Listening to the Put on Raiders podcast. Ryan, how you doing today?
I couldn't tell if you said glorious or non-victorious because it kind of sounded the same.
I said non-scoring, but it is what it is. The Raiders lose to the Minnesota Vikings 3-0 in front of the crowd out there in Allegiant Stadium. Usually, it's pretty bad when that happens, especially when it happens, Ryan, in a game where there's no elements. Usually, if a game happens like that, where it's 3-0, there's like torrential rain, there's monsoon, there's that thing that the grapple thing that the Raiders played with Browns a couple of years ago, but this is the bottom of the barrel for this head coach, interim head coach, and for everybody else involved. They're not going to be back.
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that's the lowest scoring game in the history of the NFL in an indoor stadium. So I think you're correct.
Yes.
And the thrilling 3-0 game, field goal at the 2-minute warning. It's not like they carried this game deep. The Raiders were coming off a bye week, and Antonio Pierce talked a lot about him improving, reflecting, self-scouting, and you came out and it looked even worse. And when you're on a 9-week job interview and you fight and you claw against the Chiefs and the Dolphins and you're trying everything you can do to get this job, you cannot put up a goose egg at home against the Minnesota Vikings. This isn't the 85 Bears. This wasn't the 2000 Ravens. This was the 2023 Minnesota Vikings playing with Josh Dobbs, who couldn't get out of his own way. And the defense kept giving the Raiders the ball over and over and over again. We saw really bad quarterback play. We saw inability to convert third downs, which have been an issue with Aiden O'Connell. It's been an issue with the offense all year. Couldn't get the running game going. And more importantly, we saw Bo Hardegree become probably the worst play caller in the National Football League. And for some reason, he wants to call first and second down to get him into third and manageable, but he still hasn't figured out that he can't convert a third down. So you don't have to play for third down. You're allowed to try to get the first down on first and second. But the Raiders still haven't figured out how to do that. And that falls on Antonio Pierce as well. I know fans are like, get him a quarterback, get him an offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. He's responsible. He's the one that handpicked Bo Hardegree when Scott Turner's also on the staff who called plays in Washington. So there were other options. Antonio Pierce chose Bo Hardegree. He didn't have to.
Yeah. And yeah, they're just they're just not serious people. Like when it comes down to it, they're not serious. They're just not. And it's all the enthusiasm, all the he's one of us, all the NWA, all the Compton reflection, all that stuff like that. It's pretty much at the end of the day, it's can you coach? Can you get it done on Sundays? And I will give him this, that like I feel like his position group has played well this year. So like it's not like he's just like a clown out there, doesn't know football. That group played well. So if he wants to be a head coach, wants to be a linebacker coach somewhere else or down the road, be a DC, I can see that in his future. But this is just he is. There's moments where you realize somebody's in over their head. He is completely in over his head. This is like, I know it's hard to score in the National Football League, but it ain't that hard.
It's not that hard in 2023 with all the rules in your favor. And I think there's kind of been a trend, and maybe this is just me speaking, but Antonio Pierce came out. I'm from Compton. I'm a Red fan. I want this job, and boom, it was great out of the grade against the Giants. Beat the lowly Jets, but that's still an accomplishment with the defense that we had. We saw that defense dominate C.J. Stroud, although it was a bad weather game today. But at some point, the shine has come off, and now it's, can you coach?
Yep.
And his inability to figure out how to manage the halves and when to call timeouts and burning useless timeouts because they can't get the right play call in, they can't get the right personnel in. That's basically what he's standing on. It's those decisions. And when he brought the team out and they showed the broadcast of them running and stretching before the second half as if the game hadn't even started, he lost me there. I'm out. This isn't high school. You're not taking him on the backfield like he did. These are professional athletes and grown-ass men. And for you to have them go out there before the second half and start running wind sprints, no, that ain't it.
Was they were doing they were doing gassers, you know? Are we really trying to have pro football players do gassers after a half? You gotta, like, you know, you have to show. The hardest thing about pro football is you have to show grown men who really know football that you are on that level where you can show them the light. You know, I mean, look at a guy like Mike McDaniel. He's probably like 120 pounds soaking wet, that dude. But he walked into that room and he showed them, this is what we're going to do offensively, and we're going to score a shitload of points, and they do that. Like, if you can't command that, you can't look at those. Those dudes are not stupid. Devontae Adams left today and probably didn't talk to the media because he knows that this is not rocket science. Like, he can get the football in numerous situations and they don't even give him the ball or give him opportunities. And he's sitting there looking at his legacy, saying like, Jesus, like I really could have just fucking stayed in Green Bay, regardless of whether or not Rodgers was leaving, because him, Love, and Christian Watson probably could have been a good trio.
Probably. And the Raiders haven't figured out how to use him at all this year. They seem to have a plan early in games. Let's force him the ball 3 or 4 times, keep him happy, and then just not even throw him the ball for multiple positions, multiple quarters in a row. And then I don't know what Aiden O'Connell is doing in the red zone when he looks over and they literally had him double teamed and it's first and goal at the 10. So let's throw it out there for 1 yard when you could have run the ball up the middle because you had the numbers in the box on an RPO. Or it was a play where he had an option to throw that quick screen or run the ball. And then Bo Hardegree on second and goal from the 9 calls a run when you haven't run the ball all day. Are you just trying to get to 3rd and 7? Like, throw the ball in the end zone. And then they get a holding penalty because, of course, they get a holding penalty in the red zone.
Yes.
And then you're calling a wide receiver screen on second and goal from the 19 when a touchdown with the way your defense is playing is a tremendous advantage. And it turns out probably would have won this game. And Hunter Renfrow fumbles, which Hunter Renfrow has had a long history of doing over the last couple of years.
It is.
It was great to see him make the big play on 3rd down, but Hunter Renfrow has to hold on to the football. He can't keep fumbling the football.
Does it a lot.
The play call is atrocious. It's second and goal from the 19. The best case scenario on that play is you get 7 yards, 8 yards, maybe, if he makes the guy miss. Like, now it's still second and goal or third and goal from the 12. Like, try to push the ball down the field. You have Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers can win contested balls. You have a big physical monster of a tight end who you still don't throw the ball to. And that basically was the game right there when he fumbled that ball. And for me, I feel like Bo Hardegree, there's no rhyme, there's no reason. There's no, I'm going to get this guy involved and I have all these plays. Like, I had a bye week. I had 2 weeks to come into this game. And it's like he's pulling plays out of a hat where there's no rhyme or reason of why he's calling what he's calling. And as soon as they fall behind in a game or they look bad, they go from super aggressive to run on first down, run on second down, 3rd and 6, punt. Like, it's been that way ever since Bo Hardegree basically took over, since the Giants game.
Yeah.
But to me, it also going back to that Antonio Pierce, like it feels to me like Antonio Pierce or someone in this camp is trying so hard to get his name out in the media and that he needs this job and he's doing all this stuff to make himself better. But the one thing he forgot to do was actually coach the damn football team.
Yes, and we talked about you and that Tom Pelissero story came out where Adam Gase, Tom Coughlin, and Marvin Lewis, who all three of them would have won this game today. If they were head coach, even Adam Gase would have found a way to win.
Josh McDaniels probably wins that game today.
He probably would have won this game like 8-2, but but
9-3.
But yeah, I mean, it's when you're doing all those things. I think I think that's the thing that you're like you just mentioned. Like, I mean, this is about all that could have been done on a phone call or Zoom. Like, I mean, you have to like really start coaching this team. Like,
it didn't even have to get to the media. How do you think it got there?
Oh yeah, because it's people are like, I mean,
someone's pushing that out there today.
Yes, it is, and then it sounds like it obviously might probably coming from his side too. So it makes it look even worse. Like if they came out gangbusters today, and then you could say, okay, yeah, I see him doesn't have the experience, but he's trying. But like, this is the worst possible. You put that story out. Your team puts that story out today about Gase, Lewis, and Coughlin, and then you don't score. I mean, like, I was like,
they crossed midfield twice.
Like the Steelers,
they didn't score.
The Steelers had an embarrassing loss at home to the Patriots and the Cardinals back to back, but they scored. I mean, they scored in both of those games. I mean, it's just, I mean, they I don't know. And then to me at halftime, how do you not play Jimmy G after halftime? Like how do you not? Even if you go back to Aiden O'Connell on Thursday, that's fine. But like in this game, in this moment, even freaking O'Connell was like, "Yo, okay, Josh, enough." You know, and he brought in Nick Mullins. Like, how do you not like even steal the idea from the other coach and just say, "Hey, all right, you know what? I'm gonna put Jimmy in," unless he's gotten a written document from the owner saying don't play Jimmy. Like, how do you not play Jimmy in this game? Like, I'm not saying that Jimmy is great or good or anything, but like you have just for a change of pace, just to get the ball to Devontae, just to get the ball to to Myers and everybody like that, you have to make that trade.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was coming. To me, it's interesting where Antonio Pierce, the luster's off. He's probably not coming back, barring they win the next 4 games and look better, which at this point I think is almost impossible to do, or even think that it's possible to do. He's staking his claim to wanting this job by sticking with Aiden O'Connell, who today, granted, he played well in the Chiefs game. He looked today from early on like he had no idea what he was looking at. Brian Flores was living rent-free in his head. He had no clue where coverages they were in or who was coming because they would put everyone up on the line of scrimmage. There were a lot of times where he was checking to quick screens when they were dropping out that had no chance. And just by the way he was playing, you could tell by his body language, after he put his head down and ran into that sack on 3rd down, and overall, I thought the offensive line wasn't terrible. I thought they played okay in this game. It wasn't good. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Aiden O'Connell, some of those sacks are on him.
Yes.
But to look at your team on the sideline that's fighting and know that your coaching career is riding on whether you probably win this game and the next game against the Chargers, because he needs to win those games to keep this job. And he sticks with Aiden O'Connell. And then when asked about it in the press conference, he kind of refused to answer it and just said at the end, we're going to evaluate everything. He needs to evaluate that decision because, like you said, the reason you have that veteran quarterback on the bench is if it goes sideways in a game on a rookie,
exactly,
you can take him out, put him in for a couple of drives. All you needed was a field goal. You could have given Jimmy a drive or two, and if Jimmy throws an interception or something, he does. But Aiden O'Connell was in no shape to finish this game because he had no idea what he was looking at.
And even was that 2nd down or 3rd down when they threw the when Renfro fumbled? Oh, 2nd down.
2nd and 19.
2nd 19. I mean, even understanding how to read the situation that the game is a mess. You're not playing well. You know you have a good kicker. You're in you get that penalty. So to me, even if they ran it twice in a row up the middle and got 4 or 5 yards and just kicked the field goal just to get on the board, that's coaching. Like that's like, okay, let me just score and then take it from there after that. Like you can't just, I mean, and like he's hearing the play call in his head, and like you're okay with that play call. Like our biggest thing about like Gruden a lot of times, and a lot of times when other quarterbacks were here with the Raiders, is that you're in the red zone, you get that big play from Renfro, and you don't throw the ball in the end zone when you're in the red zone. I just don't. You have big physical weapons like Devontae, like you mentioned with Devontae, with Myers, with Mayer. Like we saw Mayer have that great catch, in the corner end zone where he lost the guy from the Jets, right? Like what do you like? What's the point if you're not gonna like I don't understand like how you can be an offensive play caller and say, hey, I'm not going to ever throw the ball in the end zone when you're in the red zone. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, like I said, that I don't think there's really a rhyme or reason. I think he's just calling whatever plays are on his sheet and saying, "I hope this works. I hope this works," because this is going on 3 straight weeks where the offense has just looked brutal.
It's
I
so
mean,
bad.
outside of the
It's
Giants
so
game, they haven't
bad.
scored 20 points in any other game the entire season. I feel bad for the defense. I mean, Max Crosby balled
Today,
out.
I definitely
Nate
do.
Hobbs,
Yeah,
Robertson,
definitely. No, that
um,
definitely do.
Spillane had a great game. I mean, the Raiders have had a run here playing a lot of bad quarterbacks. They just couldn't seal the deal. And this, the playoffs are gone. Like they're not going to make the playoffs. I didn't think it was a playoff team anyways. I predicted 8 and 9 preseason. But at this point, they got to just play the young guys the rest of the way. And I think that you're going to see O'Connell stay in. They need to get Tucker more snaps. They need to get Silvera. They need to get Byron Young up and see what they have in those guys. Because at this point,
Why are those guys still like? I mean, like to your point, like why are those guys still like? I mean, inactive. Like we had to see it now. Like it has to come from. If it comes from above him, it has to come from above him because it's like, what are we doing sitting those players when they're young? And we can kind of evaluate for next year. A lot of guys are going to be on the roster regardless of who the head coach is next year.
well, a lot of the guys in front, they have 4 guys in front of them, and now they're playing Tyree Wilson inside on third downs quite a bit. They had toyed with it for a couple of weeks, but coming out of the bye, he
They
was
had to.
basically the third down rush defensive tackle, and Butler's not playing a ton. His snaps got taken back. Tillery's not playing a ton. I mean, it was basically Wilson on the inside. Nichols is rotating in, and then Jenkins is rotating in and running down. So when you have Nichols, when you have Jenkins, when you have Butler, you have Tillery in there, and now you're putting Tyree in there too. There's no snaps for those guys, and they're not really going to be playing on special teams. But moving forward, I mean, I don't need to see Jerry Tillery play anymore. Get one of those guys in the game. Adam Butler's been fine. Play him. Jenkins has been fine, but give a series of Jenkinses to Silvera and just watch them develop and just see what happens. I thought the secondary was lights out today. Especially after getting rid of Peters. Other than Jones had a couple of plays where he just made a mistake, had a penalty. Wasn't tight enough on his coverage. But I thought overall the defense played about as well as you could play. But then Nick Mullins came in and they just gave up third down after third down after third down, and they couldn't stop him when they kicked the field goal.
Yeah. Brutal.
Nick Mullins' revenge game. I didn't have that on the bingo card.
Is it revenge? I mean, Nick Mullins always beats the Raiders. So
he was on the Raiders last year. They cut him, or they traded him in preseason.
I know. Oh my god, I'll never forget that night in that game against Gruden, where he went nuts. I mean, it's really crazy. I'm not look at the stats right now, and it's just like it's incredible how incredibly bad it was. I mean, they didn't even. Let's see, O'Connell
173 yards, something like that.
771 yards. I mean, 13 carries for Josh Jacobs.
The team. I think they only had 170 something yards for the game.
Devontae 7 catches for 53 yards. I mean, this is just all the way down.
25 of that came on the last play.
Can we? If I'm the wide receiver, who's the wide receiver coach? This is the second time? Okay, this is the second time that Trey Tucker is on the sideline, where it's pretty much a routine play for a wide receiver, you just catch tiptoe and go out of bounds. It was in the Dolphin game. He had that was probably the best O'Connell play or throw of the season, and then he ends up he ends up screwing that up and not getting the first down and not catching the ball. And I mean that's just like textbook stuff. Like I don't even understand how you like tip the toe drag swag should be. That's like the first thing they work on when you get there. So I mean that's something that's really bothersome, but it's just nothing to. I don't know. There's this defense. I mean, you got sacks galore. You got tackle for losses in this game by this defensive unit. Kind of feel bad for them, but doesn't mean I don't know. I mean, there's times where Patrick Graham still makes you pull your hair out a little bit, but still, I mean, they get no points. I can't even talk about Patrick Graham today.
Yeah, Tucker's an interesting because it was an overdraft at the time. He had a teammate on his team who was a better receiver than him in college, who the Raiders passed on. Not that they should have taken Scott, but he's been okay with the Bears. I think he's got 11 or 12 catches. But that draft pick, I mean, those third round picks between Young and Tucker aren't turning out to be anything. And at this point, Tucker kind of looks like I have a hard time believing he's going to develop into like a number 2 receiver. So like at best he's a slot, but most likely he's a fourth guy that can come in and just give you a speed element. Maybe he develops into a kick returner at some point, but like that's basically a bad draft. That's basically Lynn Bowden Jr. over again, but just a better version that's faster. But he's basically a trick play guy or a deep shot guy, and the value of that spot in the top 100 in the draft probably could have got someone better. And you just start going down the list. Aiden O'Connell's turning out to be kind of what we thought he would be, is just a career backup. Like I have a hard time thinking you can build a team that's going to be a playoff team and have a deep playoff run with him at quarterback. So for the Raiders, it's all in at this point. They need to go in and draft a rookie quarterback in the first round. Stop messing around with it. Since 1980, they've taken 3 quarterbacks in the first round, last 43 years. And until this team finds that playmaker at quarterback, they're just going to keep getting in their own way. I mean, They can't even get Devontae Adams the ball. This blows my mind watching this.
I mean, if they just, it's like that's hard not to be able to do. He is a supreme route runner who gets open, and you have to be playing really bad football in order to not be able to get him the ball at all. Zamir White had a couple carries today. Zamir White came through.
Zamir might be playing on Thursday. We're gonna get a lot of Zamir White.
Oh man, this is gonna be Amazon's gonna pay us to watch that one. I mean, that's gonna be brutal, especially with no Herbert. That's gonna be. I mean, if Herbert's not playing in this game, that's gonna be bad. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, could even
bet the under.
Bet the under. That's gonna be ugly. And I'm also out on Kellen Moore. Please don't tell me Kellen Moore is some godforsaken great coordinator either. As far as that goes. Anything else on this? On what is just one of the worst Raider games I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I don't think I'm going to watch the all-22 of the offense. I'll watch the defense, but I mean, I don't know what I'm going to learn. I think there's an opportunity next week to maybe have Dylan Parham play center and see what it looks like there with Andre James getting injured late in the game. I do find it interesting, and I know some of the beat writers were complaining about it after the game, that Mark Davis is meeting immediately with the head coach after the game, before they could even get to the presser. And today, it felt like an eternity, but Aiden O'Connell came out and talked, and there was like a 20-minute break before Pierce came out. So I don't know what him and Mark Davis were talking about for 20 or 30 minutes, but one, it's a bad look for Mark Davis. Like, let him do the press conference, and then you have all the rest of the day, and then moving into tomorrow, if you want to meet with him, go to the facility on Monday morning, sleep on it. But like, this is the second time that Mark Davis has gone into the locker room to have a conversation with Antonio Pierce and delayed him getting out to have his presser while he's getting his talking points will put from Mark Davis. We don't know the nature of those calls, or those talks, but they couldn't have been good after today's showing.
Yeah, I mean, that's something where, like, if I'm a head coach too, is like, my guy, like, you're the owner, you pay the bills, like you it is all your money, everything like that. But we can do this Monday morning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Or give me 20 minutes. I'll be right back.
Let me just if it's a home game too, let me just go to do the presser, and then we'll meet in your office afterwards. I get the passion. I get the thing is, I get the whole, like, this is your team, it's your family business, everything like that. But like, it is kind of like, imagine, like, think about the situation where, like, you just finished doing a report, and like the second you do a report, your boss is like, it's like right in your face right afterwards. Like, I mean, I guess that happens other places, but I just can't deal. I just can't. That part of it is a little. I think it's a little much with him, as far as that goes. Did he do that with Gruden too?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't new. Let's put that out there. Like, he
Yeah,
did it with Gruden, he did it with Bisaccia.
he did it
I'm
with
sure he did it with Zim.
McDaniels. Yeah,
He always meets with them after the games. I don't remember it being so abrupt and so quickly before the press conference, the post-game press conference, but all the coaches have said that Mark Davis has met with them after each game to discuss things.
yeah.
But I don't remember any of them being 30, 40 minutes late to a press conference twice now, because according to the beat writers, he was talking to Mark Davis.
Yeah, that's it's brutal. That's brutal. That's brutal. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, man. I just don't know. Quick turnaround for the Raiders here, as they get ready for the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. It's, I don't know. I think, first of all, from the head coaching part of it, he's not going to be back. So how does he handle the rest of the season? Because you can read the tea leaves that you're not going to be coming back. At least have this team show that they look. I mean, the Patriots were in the dumpster fire, last week before they went to play Pittsburgh. The Raiders have not won a game in SoFi, whether it's the Rams or the Chargers yet. So this is probably their best chance to do it, I guess. I just don't know how
the
you
games
really.
in Vegas.
Oh, games in Vegas, so they haven't.
Yeah.
They played there already. I forgot. I'm sorry, they played there already. That was McDaniel's special. They played there already and lost that game. Well, they usually win this game, actually, because they usually beat the Chargers in Vegas. So I don't know, man. Like, this is like it's a brutal game, man. It's a brutal situation. But they're probably. Well, this game will probably be even. I don't think anybody. I don't think either one of these teams will be favored in this game. I think they'd probably be even. They're pretty much the same dumpster fire, both squads.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell, it's probably a pick'em game. And the Raiders defense is playing very well.
Yeah.
Where the Chargers defense not really been playing well other than the Patriots game. So it's probably the line, I don't know, probably be like -2, -3. It's
They weren't
right
awful.
there.
They weren't awful today. But I mean, once Herbert got out, it was
when Hurt went out.
Yeah, they can't compete with that team as well. And then Denver is playing good football, so that Denver game is not going to be. That's not going to be a win in any way whatsoever for the Raiders.
I do think that they've now moved to the 8th spot in the draft, pending tomorrow's results. So there is a chance that if they lose to the Chargers, at that point they're probably going to lose out. Let's be honest, they're going to lose at Kansas City. They're probably going to lose to the Colts, and the way the Broncos are playing, they can't be favored against the Broncos.
No.
So if they do end up 5-12, obviously it'll hurt my 6.5 over bet earlier in the season, but
yes,
they're probably going to end up with like a top 5 or 6 pick if they lose out. If they win another game, that probably puts them somewhere in the 9 to 11 range.
It's brutal. All right, Red Nation. I don't know. I just ain't no sunshine at all out here. But let's just.
I would think Champ Kelly is getting a little nervous too if the team doesn't start playing better.
You think so?
A little bit. Not. He's probably going to keep the job. I'll preface by saying that, but the team needs to start playing better. I know that this wasn't the guys he picked or his roster.
You think that was like who ultimately you think picked Pierce? Well, you think ultimately it was Mark or the Mark?
It was Mark. Mark said
Mark.
It was
Mark said
he interviewed him.
Yeah. So he can't. So at the very least, he can say, hey, this is not, this is not any of my guys. As far as
the issue you're going to have with Mark Davis is if Antonio Pierce isn't back and the head coaching candidate that he wants doesn't want to work for Champ Kelly, We don't know if
That's
that's true or not. But
that's
if he
that's
doesn't, he's not going to keep Champ Kelly. If it's the
this
head
is
coach
the,
that he
but
really wants,
this is the
he needs to
problem.
get out of the way.
This is the problem. Like you should let Champ Kelly do the interviewing and present you with like a couple of final candidates. Like, you know what I mean? This whole Mark Davis, like, I'm gonna do this. I mean, like, dude, it doesn't like your track record shows you it doesn't work. Like you can't, you're not good at this. You're like, he always says, I don't know what I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? So like if you don't know how to pick a head coach, let the GM let whoever the GM, and whether it's Champ Kelly, Ed Dobbs, or whoever, let them pick the head coach. If you want to have a couple of different options, have them like, hey, like these are two options. You want a PowerPoint presentation or whatever you want, like of both coaches, and then the pros and cons of both. And then like, you know, and then and then the GM tells you where he's leaning. Then let's ride. But like this whole like Mark Davis, and then, you know, oh, I'm gonna give you a GM that you can work with. Like, let the GM just pick the fucking coach.
If Jim Harbaugh says I'll come, but I want to pick the GM, what do you think Mark Davis does? Not that I'm a huge I want Harbaugh fan, but
I just
I
don't
think he
think,
would do what
yeah,
Harbaugh tells him he wants to do.
yeah. And then if you're gonna give him 6 years and, you know, 100
The good
million.
news is Harbaugh's guy is Ed Dowds, and that's who I actually wanted the Raiders to hire instead of Dave Ziegler. Him
I
or
mean,
Willie McClay were my two guys.
you know, McClay, dude, whenever I say the Cowboys play, man, and everybody knows that McClay is the guy who's really grinding those picks out, man. The Cowboys are freaking talented as hell, dude. That roster is stupid. That roster is stupid. All right, before we go, I want to do we'll do a quick do a real quick mock draft Monday, real quick for our folks.
Again, let's do it.
Let's
What
do it.
quarterback's available?
Quarterback available. The same quarterbacks are available. You got JJ McCarthy, and you got Daniels, you got Bo Nix, and you got Penix.
I'm a Daniels guy out of that group, so give the Raiders another Heisman Trophy winner.
So we got Daniels in
Al
there.
Davis would find a way to get him. He collected Heisman Trophy winner.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. As he gave props to, I mean, all Raider fans, when he gave props to Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce, everybody was tweeting that out. It's a done deal. We got him. Okay.
It's not how the draft works, but
it ain't how the draft works, because he ain't gonna be like Magic Johnson said, I'm not gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here. Second round pick. Let's go. I'm gonna reject you and reject you. What position group you going with?
we'll let you pick the second round. I'll pick the third round.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
I would go offensive line, but that's me.
Let's see
Or
here.
corner.
Let's go defense. I don't know that player. I will ride. Shoot. Let me go. Defense. I'm gonna go with Tavondre Sweat from Texas. I'll go defensive tackle.
The big man, 360 pounds.
I need something. I need something soft to run up in there.
Yeah, Jenkins probably won't be back. He's been playing fine, but he's 34 years old.
Yeah. I saw Jonathan Hankins tonight. He must be so happy.
I thought the same thing when I saw him on the sideline.
Yeah, I know. When I saw Jonathan Hankins, I was like, Jonathan Hankins he must be so happy. Oh man. Third round. Let's see what we got here.
Let's go offensive line.
Offensive
Anywhere,
line.
like center, guard, tackle, whoever the best guy is. Who are the top ones?
All right, we got Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma tackle.
Been riding with
Is
him.
the center from Georgia available? Cedric Van Pran, I think his name is. He's probably already been picked.
He's going.
All right, you can take Guyton.
He's gone. I think I only had a Oh yeah, I think I only had a set for 3 rounds, so that's probably the last one. Yes, last one. So we got Daniel, Sweat, and Guyton. So, but yeah, man. Ray Nation, I wish we had good news or wish we had whatever. But like I said, if they do, I'm the thing I'm positive about is if they could just if Mark can just get out of his own way and just hire the GM and not worry about his input as far as like yes he's a boss and he runs everything and everything like that. But like is he like doing everything with the WNBA team? I mean, they probably let them do it. Let these folks do their job, and then see hopefully the Raiders can reap the benefits of it. They kind of need to. This is a game where I think they have a great chance of winning because of who the quarterback is and everything like that. But and the way the defense is playing, bad quarterback situation. But they really do need to have. I mean, 5 wins would be really good right now. And I hate to say it like that, but at least you'd be in range where you don't the goal because I think the goal, Ryan, is to if you can get the quarterback without having to trade assets for it. And if you could do that, that'd probably be the best way of going about it.
Yeah, they're going to have to get in the top probably 5 or 6. I don't see any way that Jaden Daniels falls out of top 10. And then having said that, knowing the first 2 are going to be off the board and potentially Marvin Harrison Jr., you might have to get to 4 or 5. So they may have to make a trade regardless.
Yeah.
But the closer they are, the more likely they can make a deal because that team doesn't have to fall down 6 or 7 spots. They have to fall down 2 or 3. And then it's less capital that you have to give up. The Raiders have to come out of the next draft with the potential future quarterback. Like I said, they haven't invested in the position really in 43 years. They've taken 3 bites at the apple. That's not enough. They haven't, and basically since what was Murnovich 91. So in 91 and I think 07 was Jamarcus. It's 2023. We're going to go into 2024. That's 33 years where the Raiders have taken 2 quarterbacks in the first round.
Yeah.
So they just need, and as sadly as it is, if this keeps going the way it's going, and the Raiders can get multiple picks for Devontae Adams, it may be in the best to move on, because his timeline is not going to be on the same. Even if and let's make sure this is clear. If the Raiders take a quarterback in the first round, that still doesn't mean they're a playoff contender next year. It's going to take time. You're obviously going to have a new offensive system that whoever it is going to have to learn. And you can't expect to drop that guy in and have him play like CJ Stroud's playing right now. Like, it'd be great if it happens, but going into the season, if that's the route and a team is willing to give you a 1 and a 2 or a 1 and a 3 for Devontae Adams, then that's a top 15 pick. You have to at least listen to them.
Yeah. My question, but you got to do it.
And I love Devontae.
Me too. But I do think, they do have other wide receiver weapons. They have tight ends. So, and you can always draft a wide receiver or get a receiver in free agency. So the opportunities were there. And I just don't know. One thing I just don't know is that do I buy, let's just say the Raiders ended up at 7. Do we buy that the Commanders and Giants are not taking a quarterback? Like
look behind them, because there's going to be multiple teams trying to get those picks. So you can't just say, well, because the Commanders and the Giants might. They might just say, "Screw Daniel Jones."
Yeah, I mean that's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to be. There's a lot of pressure on New York. If Jaden Daniels is sitting there at 5 for them, like how do you not how do you not do it? I mean, how do you not pull the trigger? Like it makes.
The Cardinals could decide they don't want to. I mean, it would be very hard to do it, but the Cardinals may decide we don't want Kyler Murray anymore. Yeah, so
that's true.
Quarterbacks are going 1 and 2.
Yes.
Which means the third one, if you think the third guy is going 8 to 10, teams are jumping up to 4, 5, and 6 to take him if they want him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, whatever at this point, whatever it takes by any means necessary for the Raiders to get a.
Have you seen the Saints quarterback situation? They need a quarterback.
They won today.
Look at all the Tampa needs a quarterback. Saints need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback.
It's funny.
There's a lot of teams right in that mix.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny with these mock drafts. I see all these position players going. I'm like, dude, like y'all sure all these teams with half with older veteran quarterbacks who are when a team's 6-7, they're not gonna take a chance on a quarterback in this draft. I just don't buy it. I think I think a lot of quarterbacks are gonna go in that top 10. So the Raiders got to do whatever they can to get a quarterback. So, all right, Ray
I've
Nation.
seen multiple reports by national draft guys, media outlets that 5 to 6 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round. I saw 2 people report today. The feeling around the league is that 4 will go in the top 10. So can't sit around and think your guy's getting you a 10 or 11.
No, I mean if you don't, I mean if you get the 4, if you get the 4, you get the 4th best. You know what I mean? Or if you get the 3, you're guaranteed to get the top one of the top 3 guys. But it's 100%, and everybody will dissect all those guys in the combines and everything like that. So interesting.
I don't think there's any way they can get to 3 unless the Patriots and Cardinals just go on a winning streak. So
yes,
the best they can probably get to is 4.
It's 4. And 4 would just, I mean, you would guarantee yourself one of them, but
you're either getting Marvin Harrison Jr. or the quarterback. That's not the worst that could happen, but you really need the quarterback.
You need the quarterback. I can't. I mean, I love Marvin Harrison Jr., but we'll be sitting here with the same frustrations.
This team already has how much money tied up in wide receivers just between Adams. I mean, you're over $50 million for those 3 guys: Adams, Myers, and Renfro. And granted, all 3 won't be back next year. Yeah. I find it very hard to believe that whoever's running the team is going to have those kind of investments in a wide receiver group when you have uncertainty on the offensive line, in the backfield, and under center.
Yeah, it's crazy. Interesting. I would love to see Parham play center this week. That'd be kind of just, let's just see what it looks like, especially with James hurt. All right, Ray Nation, Ryan. Another morbid show, but we got there.
At least it's not Josh McDaniels more, but at least it's a little lighter. There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
the losses continue.
Yeah. That's why I'm not. Yeah, that's why I'm not as upset about it, because I know what the goal is for this team. The goal is for this team. They really got to get the highest draft pick possible and get a quarterback desperately. All right, Ray Nation, take care, Ryan.
Okay.